people of the interwebs, it is Dan here, and welcome to yet another review of yet another edition of Monday Night Raw. Honestly, for a go-home show, this was bad. For a go-home show, for a pay-per-view, this was pretty bad. But if this was just another garden variety show, then I wouldn't say that it was bad. I wouldn't say that it was great, but I wouldn't say that it was terrible either. This show was kind of It was kind of all the way through. There wasn't any segments that truly nauseated me. Like in most episodes of Monday Night Raw. There were no segments that truly just made me turn this shit the fuck off. There were a few moments where I was kind of reaching for the remote control, but to be fair, everybody gets those moments sometimes. Tonight's Raw, it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was the Payback go-home show, live from Kansas City. Fuck you, Kansas City, by the way. Fuck you. You are the worst crowd that I've heard on Raw in weeks. You're the worst crowd that I've heard on either Raw or SmackDown in weeks. Regardless of that, they were live from I believe it was called the Sprint Center, in Kansas City. Raw, April the 24th, 2017. Hang on, let me adjust my camera right quickly. There we go, that's better. There was a recap to start the show of the Strowman and Roman saga leading into Payback. I was predicting that Roman would show up on this show, but I was wrong. Good move on WWE for keeping him off 2 straight shows in a row. Really smart on them. They only made one mistake by having him show up at 2 house shows, or I think they're having him show up at all the house shows and put Braun through a table, which is stupid considering he has cracked ribs and a separated shoulder and internal injuries, the type of injuries that no doctor would clear you to wrestle with, right? Make this shit more believable. Stop making him fucking Superman. Seriously? Then they showed the Big Show versus Strowman match last week with the ring break spot. They showed that ring break about 90,783 times. I got up, went to my kitchen, made myself a nice sandwich, got myself a nice glass of water, went to sit back down at my chair, and they were still showing replays of the ring breaking. It was ridiculous. But they kept showing all these shots of the ring breaking from 80,000 different angles. But regardless, then the show finally got started. There was some major feedback on the commentators' mics to start, but luckily that got fixed real quick. Jericho came out to properly start the show. They still love Jericho, but he's not getting the massive babyface pops that he was getting a month and a half ago. If you remember whenever, right after Owens turned on him, he was getting these monstrous, just raucous babyface pops every time he would come out. But now it's not the same. There's still big pops, don't get me wrong. He's still getting arguably the biggest pops of anybody on the Raw roster. But it's not the same. It's not that he's getting boring or stale. It's just that, the crowd just doesn't seem to be as into it. Although that could be because of this fucking godforsaken crowd in Kansas City. If you're from Kansas City and you're watching this video, I do apologize. But your city fucking sucks. Alright? And I'll get into why I think it sucks later on in the review. Comes out. Jericho does. He says that this will be the last ever Raw highlight reel because he will win the title at Payback and be heading to SmackDown Live. I don't think that's going to happen, honestly. I feel like if they were smart, they'd have Kevin Owens retain. Also, he's going away with Fozzy for a bit, so that's really no shock that, he's this could be the last ever highlight reel, blah, blah, blah. He's going off to record and tour with Fozzy, and also he's probably going to lose this next match at Payback, so, no shock there. He says that his guest is a charismatic sexy beast, keyword charismatic there, and I thought he was talking about Jeff Hardy, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought he was talking about Jeff Hardy, and that Jeff Hardy was going to be his guest on the highlight reel. But no, he said it was himself. Says it was himself. He says that Kevin Owens betrayed him and then tucked his tail and ran to SmackDown Live and now calls himself the face of America. Says he looks like the baby of the Hunchback of Notre Dame and Grumpy Cat. And then says that he looks more like he could be the hemorrhoid of America, but not the face of it. I love Chris Jericho as a promo. He's so good. And he could say something completely heelish and get a babyface pop for it. That's how damn good this guy is. Then Miz comes out, says that Raw is no longer Jericho, and then gets "You suck" chants, says that Raw is about the It Couple, and then Jericho says, well then you better watch! And then there was just this long swath of silence. And then he says, "It Couple!" I don't know. I don't get it either, but hey, it's something that gotta pop. It's something that's over, so why not? Then Miz says that the highlight reel has been canceled and replaced by Miz TV. Then he says, as they're setting up the set for Miz TV, that ratings will spike. Oh, really? Above the near record lows that you were suffering not all that long ago. Ratings are gonna spike. Alright, so Jericho is now apparently a guest on Miz TV, but then here comes Ambrose down the ramp, his music hits, crowd goes nuts. Says that Y2J has a point, that Miz is a stupid idiot. Then Miz says that Jericho never said that, but then Jericho says that he was thinking it. Then Ambrose says Ambrose says to Miz, you can't just come in and take over somebody's talk show, but then guess what? He proceeds to go and take over somebody's talk show. Then he says that nobody wants to see Miz TV, so he renovated it to the Ambrose Asylum, brought out the shag carpeting, brought out the little cheap poster board, the easel, all of it. And he says his guest is Jericho, and since they're here, Miz and Maurice too. Then he says sorry to Jericho for everything that they had done in the past, including him destroying his jacket. Then Jericho says that he still owes him $15,000 for it. Ambrose says, well, dude, I don't got $15K. I had a bad night at the blackjack table the other night. So, yeah, don't have 15 grand. But I do have something else. And he pulls out a new jacket out of the box. He gave him a present, and then Jericho's like, this didn't go too well for me the last time I got a present. Open it up. It was a new jacket, it was a suit jacket wrapped with Christmas lights. Oh my god. And Jericho was like, oh no, I actually like this jacket. No, you don't. It's a suit jacket wrapped in Christmas lights. What the actual fuck are you doing, Jericho? The Chris Jericho that I know and love would have code braked his ass down to the ground and given him a lion salt, preceded by a lion tamer, drilling that knee a little bit deeper into the back of the neck. That's what the Chris Jericho I know and love would have done. But no, since he's a babyface, he can't do anything like that, even though he would still be over as a babyface and you could just turn Ambrose heel, you idiots. Anyway, then Ambrose says, now there's only one thing left for you to do is to try it on, man, and just... Anyway, copyright infringement. Then Jericho says that he likes it, tries it on, looks dumb, in my opinion. Then Miz says that that's the quality that comes from a slacking Intercontinental Champion. Oh dear. If you've been keeping up with recent WWE news, then you'll know that Ambrose has been seen lately as, lazy by a lot of his coworkers. So, I'm thinking that there may be some animosity there, potentially, for good old Dino. So, I don't know. Let's see, then... Oh yeah, after the lazy, slacking, IC title champ thing, that one. He then says that he deserves gifts. Miz says that he deserves gifts from all of the superstars in the back, for pulling Raw out of mediocrity. Sorry, but as long as Kevin Dunn is in gorilla position running the show, Raw will always be in mediocrity. Sorry, Miz, but you ain't done jack shit. Then Ambrose says that he has a gift for him too, gives him a dirty deeds. Then Jericho says, Maurice, you know what happens when your husband's a stupid idiot? He then puts Maurice on the list. Off the bat, I thought that this was a weak opening segment, but as time went on, I was kind of like, yeah, that was a good opening segment. I'll let that one Excuse me. I can deal with that for an opening segment. I'm sorry for yawning. Jesus Christ. Then we had Sheamus versus Matt Hardy. The one half of the teams challenging for the tag titles this next Sunday. I was thinking that they could break Matt here, considering that this was his first singles match. Excuse me. I figured that they could break Matt Hardy here if they wanted to. It would have been a perfect opportunity to do it, but I'm guessing the lawsuit with Anthem just hasn't calmed down quite enough yet for them to want to be able to do it. I guess they haven't reached a big enough settlement with Anthem to be able to do it. But I was thinking that if they wanted to, they could have broken Matt Hardy here. And he's been continuing to do a lot of the broken shit, dipping in and out of the accent. He's doing the yes thing. And, he's doing like the delete hand sign with the crowd chanting delete like mad, and he's still using like some of the terminology from the broken gimmick. He's using like delightful and wonderful and stupendous. He's using those kind of words. So he's kind of, he's really wanting to do it, but they're just not letting him. Crowd was chanting delete whenever Matt did the delete thing with his hand, and then he did the hands out thing with the thing, that thing, the hands out thing. You know what I'm talking about. The hands out thing with the thing, Jesus, that sounded bad. He was constantly deleting there for a minute. Freaking Sheamus had his back turned and he was just going like that for a little bit, so he was having a grand old time. Constantly deleting, went for the gut kick into the twist of fate, but Sheamus countered it into a massive knee to the skull. Matt Hardy could have had his brains knocked out through his ear holes. A massive kick to the skull. Sheamus and Jeff got into a disagreement on the ramp, and so Matt had a twist of fate on Sheamus after that for the 1-2-3 as Sheamus was distracted. Then Sheamus sticks out a hand after cooling down, which was weird, and then they shook hands, which was even weirder. I honestly thought that they could have gone for a sort of head damage spot to Matt Hardy to give him the opportunity to be broken. I figured that they could have at some point had Sheamus hit a brogue kick, and then maybe had Cesaro get Matt up on his shoulders for Sheamus to deliver the brogue kick, that double team move that they have now, where Cesaro has him up in a fireman's carry, and then Sheamus delivers the brogue kick over Cesaro's shoulder. I figured they could have done something like that, maybe, but unfortunately they did not. They just shook hands at the end of the match. Then we had Miz in a backstage segment with Kurt Angle saying that him and Maurice waited outside of his office for 2 whole minutes. Oh my God, you must feel so shitty. Having to wait for 2 fucking minutes. Oh my God. Kurt says that he is booking Miz and a partner or co-star of his choice in a tag match versus Y2J and Y2J and Dean Ambrose. So they pulled a Teddy Long special. So we gonna put these two in a holla tag team match, player. So that's what went down. We got the Teddy Long special in a tag team match, player. I always loved the way that Teddy Long said tag team match whenever I was little. He'd be like, a tag team match, player. I don't know. It's just, I found it funny. So they pulled the Teddy Long special, booked a tag team match later on in the night. Then we had Cruiserweight action. Don't care. Neville and TJ Perkins versus Gallagher and Aries. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome your entire Cruiserweight division. Or at least the amount of people in the Cruiserweight division that the company wants to push. My question is, what happened to guys like Mustafa Ali, Brian Kendrick, Rich Swann, Grand Metalik? I mean, I know that guys like, I know that like Cedric Alexander is out with a knee injury right now, but still, I actually went and I looked up a list of the personnel on 205 Live, during the first commercial break of this match, which was 30 seconds in, by the way, so too many commercials, once again. Excuse me. Here are all the people that are listed on the 205 Live roster that I have not seen in at least a couple of weeks while these guys are getting all the pushes. Akira Tozawa, Arya Davari, the Brian Kendrick, again, as I said, Cedric Alexander's out with a knee injury, Drew Gulak, who I was really impressed with early on, and it seemed like they were trying to give him a decent push there with the beginning of this whole Cruiserweight deal. It looked like they were trying to push Drew Gulak for a little bit. But anyway, Drew Gulak is on the roster, but they're not pushing him. You have Gran Metalik, who I completely forgot was signed. But this dude just doesn't show up. Like, this is the man who went to the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic with TJ Perkins. And you haven't had him show up. I think I've seen him show up one time on Raw, on WWE programming, period, since the end of the Cruiserweight Classic. Gran Metalik, once. You had Gurv and Harv Sira, who are actually now on SmackDown, being lackeys to Jinder Mahal as the Singh brothers. You have Ho Ho Loon, who I was actually very impressed with in the Cruiserweight Classic, and I actually like him a lot. You have Lince Dorado, who was one of the premier performers in the Cruiserweight Classic, just sitting there on your roster with nothing to do. He's back with Apollo Crews and catering, doing fuck all. And he's Lince fucking Dorado. He's back there with, yucking it up with Fit Finlay and shit, and all back there with, all the big guns. You got Titus O'Neil, you got Bo Dallas, you got Curtis Axel, you got Apollo Crews back there. So, he's just yucking it up with everybody in catering, when he's one of the most talented performers that they have in that division. And he was one of the premier performers in the Cruiserweight Classic. But you're not using him. There's a pattern here with this cruiserweight shit. You are not using them. You are not using them at all, period. So you have Lince Dorado there that's not being used. You have Mustafa Ali, who in the matches that I've seen with him on 205 Live, he's actually starting to grow on me. And he's insanely talented. But again, notice the pattern here. They're not using him. They have Noam Dar, who could go so far. No, not even intending to rhyme there. That was complete. But the Scottish Supernova could go so fucking far in this company. He was a singles champion all over the world before coming to WWE. But then he comes to WWE and he's like, backstage with Alicia Fox. And fucking, trying to, take a break from the Cruiserweight division and then come back and tell us how she actually fucks, sir. But he's just with Alicia Fox doing his bullshit gimmick that is just, it makes him look like a jackass. It makes him look like a jackass. You have Noam Dar, who is, again, as I said, so talented. I saw him in the Cruiserweight Classic. I saw him in WCPW. I've seen some of his matches in the Independents. He's so good. He's talented. He could go as far as he could go as far as anyone in that company. But yet you have him being a borderline jobber in the Cruiserweight division, being accompanied by an equally worthless individual on WWE's roster in Alicia Fox. Then you have Oni Lorcan, who's listed on the 205 Live personnel. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Oni Lorcan making the jump from NXT to 205 Live. I feel like that would get him good exposure. Maybe get him on there a little bit more, because I've only heard of the one appearance for him. There's this one guy on here that they listed on the personnel that I've never heard of, Pat Miletich. I got no damn clue who that is. If you know who it is, let me know down in the comments. But Pat Miletich is apparently a member of that 205 Live roster. Whoever it may be, it's a body, and God knows they need them. They, of course, have Rich Swann and then Tony Nese. And Tony Nese was one of the guys who really impressed me coming out of the Cruiserweight Classic. Again, really talented, can do a lot of things in that ring that would shock you for being a cruiserweight, or for even being a man of his size, just because he's so bulky. So anyway, that's my little cruiserweight rant. You're just not using these guys. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cruiserweights that are not being used. 13 cruiserweights that are not being used. Which is disappointing to me. Genuinely, it is really disappointing that they have 13 cruiserweights that they're just not using at all. They're pushing 4 of them at the minute. And all I can recall seeing over the last several weeks on WWE television. You can interchange them. Is Neville, Perkins, Gallagher, and Aries. And I know that there's probably been some other shit going down on 205 Live, but I don't watch 205 Live. I don't want to stay up until 11 fucking o'clock on a Tuesday night whenever I have to work the next day, talking about, watching for cruiserweight shit. And by that point, I usually have my SmackDown review up and rendering. So, by the time that show ends. So, yeah, I'm not doing that. There was nothing special here. It was a super short match. The Faces won on a discus 5-arm by Austin Aries to TJ Perkins. And what more do I need to say? That was that. Then we had Braun Strowman versus Kalisto in a dumpster match. And now, let me tell you this. I had no clue that there had been dumpster matches before. I thought that this was the first ever dumpster match. I really did. I thought that this was the first ever dumpster match. But how fitting that this show that's such a colossal dumpster fire now has its own dumpster match. How lovely. The crowd started chanting for Strowman right off the bat. He grabbed a microphone, says that he considers everyone in this arena nothing more than trash, and that when he stuffs Kalisto in the dumpster, it'll feel like he's stuffing everyone in there with him, including Roman Reigns. Then gets actual boos for that. What the hell is this shit? He's insulting Roman Reigns. Don't boo the man. Jesus Christ. Excuse me. Then we had Kurt back with Kalisto, back behind gorilla position. Asks him if he really wants to do this. Then Kalisto says that lucha means to fight. No, it's actually the Spanish word for scramble, sir. That's what lucha means. Lucha does not mean to fight. Lucha is the Spanish word for scramble. So, sorry to disappoint. But that he won't be treated like garbage. Then Kalisto, I had not heard this new theme until tonight. I thought it sounded good. It was a remix of his old theme. I like it a lot. His ring gear to me made him look a little bit like a Mexican dominatrix, a little bit. But hey, his mask that he had on, I did really like his mask, to be perfectly honest with you. But the ring gear that he wore down the ramp made him look a little bit like a male masked Mexican dominatrix, which was a little bit creepy to me, a little bit off-putting. Braun was getting some great heel heat in this match, just throwing Kalisto around like a rag doll. There was one point where Kalisto went up to the second rope in the corner and jumped, and Braun caught him in almost like a vertical suplex position and just held him there for a little bit and then just chucked him like halfway or 3/4 of the way across the ring. It was beautiful. Then I don't know what the fuck happened next. First off, Kalisto had Strowman about halfway into the dumpster, but then Braun fought out of it, and then I have no idea what the fuck happened here. This was where it was like, fuck you, Kansas City. There were dueling chants of, we want Roman, and no, we don't. Why would you want him to begin with? He's the fucking cancer that's causing the damn product to go downhill at such a rapid record pace. But you're saying, we want Roman, fuck you, Kansas City. But I don't want Roman. Do you want Roman? No, you don't. Does your dog want Roman? No, he doesn't. Does the shit that your dog just took outside want Roman? No, it doesn't. Does your fucking WWE action figures on a shelf in your room somewhere, do they want Roman? No, they don't. Does this 8x10 of the Young Bucks that I have sitting here on my desk, do they want Roman? I don't know. Guys, do you want Roman? No? Okay, good to hear. Nobody wants Roman, except half the people tonight in Kansas City. I'm knocking my desk. I'm so angry. Fuck you, Kansas City. Fuck you. That's what I say. Big ass finger to you, Kansas City. Fuck you. Then Kalisto countered a slam attempt from Braun. He was trying to slam him into the dumpster. He countered a slam attempt into a drop kick to Braun's knees, and Braun fell through into the dumpster, standing completely still. It reminded me of that one table spot with the Big Show from several years ago. You remember when Big Show was in that ladder match, and he got bumped while he was on the apron, and one of his feet went through the table, but he still lost the match? This reminded me a lot of that. But he delivered a dropkick to Strowman's knees, and Strowman fell into the dumpster, still standing still. And then "We Want Roman" chants overpowering the "Roman sucks" chants after the match. Again, fuck you, Kansas City. Fuck you. Fuck you all. I hate Kansas City. Never again. Post-match, Braun beats the living shit out of Kalisto, then stuffs him into the dumpster, pushes it up the ramp onto the stage, pushing agents out of the way. Fit Finlay was out there. Strowman wasn't wanting to take shit from Fit Finlay. Then he locks Kalisto in the dumpster with one of these tie-down straps. You know, one of those straps that you use when you're, like, moving heavy furniture and you need to, like, strap it into the back of a truck, and you, like, crank it to tighten the strap. You go, like, and you, like, crank it to tighten the strap up. That's the type of strap that Strowman used to lock Kalisto in this dumpster. Then he shoves the dumpster off the stage. Looked weak compared to what it was hyped up to be, because Braun was building up to this for about 5 minutes. Just to give you an idea of how long this took. Braun was building up to this for about 5 minutes, and then he pushed the dumpster off the stage, and all it did was, it went from this to, it went up on its side. That's all it did. Like, I wouldn't even get bumps or bruises from that shit. You know, it's just like, it tipped over. Like, that's all it did. It didn't even fall at all. It just tipped over. What the hell, man? At least give us something a little bit less anticlimactic. It literally went, that's all it did. It flipped onto its side. So, congratulations. All right. It looked weaker than it was hyped up to be. Roman did not come out for this segment. Considering that the crowd were chanting, "We want Roman, fuck you, Kansas." Good on WWE for not having him come out. Very good on them for that one. Then after this, after they came back from commercial, they showed Kalisto being stretchered out by medical staff to be taken to a local medical facility to be tested out for his injuries, and I actually heard Michael call it a hospital a couple of times, so I found that to be very weird. Then we had Bray Wyatt on the Titantron delivering another meaningless promo. No offense, but they really are meaningless. He says that the House of Horrors will be Orton's purgatory and an eternal grave for his soul. Blah, blah, blah. Meaningless bullshit from Bray Wyatt. You know what? What? Oh, shit. I have a review to do. Fuck. Yeah. Another promo from Bray. It just put me to sleep. Ever since Bray lost that title, his promos mean nothing anymore. Then we had Dana Brooke versus Alicia Fox. Fuck's sake. Who cares? Emma came out. That was the best part of the whole damn match. I got to look at Emma's fine ass for about 20 seconds as she came out to watch the match. Dana squashes Alicia with the sloppiest Michinoku driver I have ever seen. Taka is going batshit crazy right now. Genuinely, the Michinoku driver is one of my favorite moves. I don't know why. I've just always loved it. I think it looks pretty when executed correctly. It looks brutal. You know, it looks like it could legit hurt somebody. It just looks beautiful when done correctly. But Dana just did it so sloppily. She botched it so bad. Emma got in after Dana pinned Alicia and hugged Dana. She seemed disgusted by it. I don't know why. Could this be either a babyface turn for Emma or the start of Dana going back heel? I don't know. Could this be sort of like an AJ Lee type thing where Emma becomes obsessed with one person only to inevitably turn on them and go with another person that they're going against? I don't know. But anyway, on to the next promo. Jesus Christ. Let me set the scene here for you. We have backstage. Samoa Joe, the most badass fighter in the company, along with Gallows and Anderson, who are former tag team champions and were legit badasses when they wrestled in Japan. We had Gallows and Anderson with Joe backstage. Joe cringed, I'm sure, off camera, as Anderson called Enzo Amore a little butt nugget. Butt nugget. Butt nugget! One of the biggest badasses in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling. One half of one of the most badass tag teams to ever walk the face of the fucking planet. He's standing there with the most legit fighter in the company today. And he uses the term butt nugget. Need I say more? They were teaming against Enzo, Cass, and Rollins later that night. But yes, fucking cringe on cringe on cringe on cringe. I'm sure that Joe was offended to even be involved in that huddle with the term butt nugget involved. Butt nugget! No. Then the six-man started, with Anderson and Gallows beating up Enzo and Cass. They gave a magic killer to Enzo on the outside. They gave the butt nugget a magic killer, or a butt nugget killer, as it would be known for tonight. And Joe was beating the shit out of Cass in the crowd. Then everybody got back inside, got everything under control. Then, honestly, this whole match, I was thinking, purely due to the use of the term butt nugget by Machine Gun Carl Anderson, I lost what little interest I had in this match to begin with. Enzo was unable to compete after the beatdown, so Finn Balor was named the new opponent. I figured that this would be a fantastic opportunity to turn Balor heel on Rollins and then have him join up with his old Bullet Club buddies. Have him join up with Gallows and Anderson. But no, they did not decide to pull the trigger tonight. Rollins showed off a new finisher. He held the pedigree for a second on Carl Anderson, but then went for that running knee to the face that you've seen people take video of in that Raw Dark match that he had a couple of weeks ago where he debuted the move for the first time. It's like a, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a running knee to the face, basically. 1, 2, 3, faces win the match. I was thinking that they could turn Balor after the match. I figured that would have been another great opportunity, but no, of course they wouldn't do it, but it has to happen. It has to happen. I swear to God it has to, because the story dictates it to. Then Alexa Bliss came out, said that she will be the women's champion this Sunday. Talks about how all these women are crying about, this being their childhood dream and blah, blah, blah. Then Bayley comes out. Ain't getting nearly as big a pops as she used to. Fucking A. She sounds so naive and so dumb and so fucking stupid and so scripted. Like, let me give you a comparison here. When Bayley was down in NXT, I looked at Bayley and I was like, wow, she is the attractive girl next door. She is that girl where you see her looking across the street and you just kind of you wave and you're like, oh, you're kind of cute. But now, Bayley on Raw has turned into that girl that you never even want to associate with next door. That's constantly trying to stalk you, and is cringy, and is stupid, and is dumb, and doesn't realize when you want her to fuck right the hell off. That's what Bayley has turned into. Genuinely. So, yeah, it's really, I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But Bayley says that she will do everything in her power to hang on to her title in her hometown. She got minor boos, actually, for saying that she was going to try to hang on to her title in her hometown, which is odd. But what can I say? The crowd loves Alexa, and who wouldn't? What can I say? Then Alexa got so excited for being able to beat Bayley in her hometown in front of her dad, then calls her a sheltered child, then asks Bayley if she's ever even kissed a boy. She's engaged, Alexa, so I would hope that she's kissed a boy before. I mean, she's engaged. I don't know. Has she kissed a boy before? She is engaged, Alexa. You do know that, right? But then she says that she will take the title that she deserves. Alexa will. Then Sasha Banks comes out. I don't care. 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 Dear God, blow my brains out. Blow my brains out. Blow my brains out. It's part, freaking... her and Bayley's friendship on television is getting fucking nauseating by now. I cannot stand to see them all buddy-buddy. Sasha needs to be ruthless. Sasha needs to turn on Bayley. And, the crowd's going to turn on it here soon enough, believe you me. But then Alexa jokes, saying that it's part 3,000 of the Sasha Bayley saga, and then asks if Sasha writes Bayley love letters when she packs her lunch. Then Sasha says that she's going to shut Alexa up herself right now, but then Alexa says that she's going to go to Kurt Angle and cancel it right now because she actually has an important match coming up on Sunday, and that she doesn't feel safe in the ring with Sasha. Then Sasha, off the back of her saying she doesn't feel safe around her, proceeds to clock her straight in the face, and then the match is underway. We had Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. Alexa basically lost this match intentionally. She walked out of the match for Sasha to win by countout. Then Bayley made a heel move, and as Alexa was simply just trying to walk to the back, Bayley drags her out and throws her to the dogs, throws her down to the ring, which I thought was kind of dumb, but then Alexa destroyed Bayley and came out on top, so I like the way that ended. So due to guesstimating by WWE 50-50 booking standards, I'm assuming that Bayley is walking out retaining her women's title this Sunday. Then we had Jericho and Ambrose backstage. Ambrose wants to let bygones be bygones and go towards the future. Then Jericho says that nobody can get taken off of the list, that it's in pen. But then he says, you know what happens, Dean Ambrose, whenever you give Chris Jericho a really nice jacket? You just unmade the list. He takes takes Ambrose off the list. But then as Ambrose walks out, Jericho slyly put Ambrose right back on the list as he walked out. Then Miz was backstage with Curtis Axel and Heath Slater. They came back out from behind Titus's catering table. Look at this, man. It's beautiful. Curtis Axel being seen for the first time in months on WWE TV. Miz asks them about potentially being his partner. Then Slater says he already has a partner. Then Rhino comes out with some of Titus's crackers and cheese whiz. Titus couldn't quite make queso tonight. He didn't have quite enough time, so he just threw out a can of cheese whiz to go with the crackers. Then Miz is handed a piece of paper, and all he says simply is that he has an awesome tag team partner. Then Kurt Hawkins is in the ring. I thought he went to SmackDown, but hey. He issues an open challenge. Apollo Crews comes out. Crowd doesn't care. I don't care. Do you care? No. Young Bucks, do you care? No, they don't. Colt Cabana vinyl figure, do you care? No, he doesn't. Shawn Michaels, Funko Pop, over there on my dresser. Do you care? No? Okay, awesome. Cool. No one cares. So Apollo Crews comes out. Excuse me. Booker T, who I actually enjoy hearing on commentary again. I really do. Because even though he's not on the level of like a JR or a Jerry the King Lawler or a Corey Graves, you cannot deny that Booker brings an intensity to his commentary that none of the other commentators can even come close to. But Booker was saying that Apollo needed an attitude change. Graves saying that he smiled too much. Apollo won on the spin-out, sit-out powerbomb. Then Titus comes out from behind his catering table. He congratulates Apollo, kisses him, or something, which was weird. Then he grabs his head and was rubbing his head, which was weirder. Thinking that Apollo may turn heel soon. I feel like he needs it really, really bad. Angle was backstage with Austin Aries. Austin had bananas discussing the 205 Live main event. Then The Miz comes through and was just asked by Kurt Angle if he's going solo. Miz says that he's not going to spoil his partner selection, but that Jericho and Ambrose would be feeling sorry for themselves. Then Elias Sampson comes through. Kurt says that he is an interesting choice. Miz says that it's not him. I genuinely had no clue. And since this was going to be the main event, it had to be something big. It was a little bit underwhelming, but hey, let's get into the main event. It was main event time. Ambrose and Jericho versus Miz and his mystery partner. Entrances started around 8:45, so I figured that this was going to be a lengthier main event. Most of them get started around 9. Excuse me. Then I was like, okay, let's find out who Miz's partner is. It's got to be big. This is the main event. Miz says that his partner has the flair for the dramatics and then tries to intro him, but nothing happens. Then he says that the match is canceled and then starts to leave. Then Angle comes down, asking about his partner, says whether or not you have a partner, you have a match right now and it starts right now. So this magically became a handicap match. And let me tell you, during this match, initially I thought something has to happen. This is the main event, for God's sake. They can't just have a normal match with Jericho, Miz, and Ambrose. You know, if this was a normal match between, like, Jericho and Rollins, then I would think it'd be main event worthy. But it's Miz, Ambrose, and Jericho. Like, this can't just be a bog standard garden variety match. But one thing I noticed throughout this match, Chris Jericho, my God. I'm ordering me some DDP yoga soon here. Because I have become such a believer in DDP yoga from Chris Jericho. Genuinely. Like, Chris Jericho, he is 46, almost 47 years old. And he is bumping like he's 26. He's bumping and moving around that ring. I'm telling you, he was moving around that ring quicker than Miz was. He was moving around that ring as quick as Ambrose was. And Ambrose is a real quick mover in the ring. But Jericho was just like darting around that damn ring. He was just going from one corner to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. Blah, 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 blah. He was running pillar to post around that ring. Almost 47 years old. My God. I'm ordering me some DDP yoga because I've become such a huge believer from Chris Jericho. Just from watching what Chris Jericho's done. But then, near the end of this match, the lights go dark while Ambrose had Miz up on the announce table. Then Bray Wyatt comes out. He's standing in the spot where Miz was. Then he starts to beat the shit out of people. He gave a dirty D, Sister Abigail, I should say, to Dean Ambrose into the Minitron. That little screen that flaps back and forth. Looked really weak, to be honest with you. So I guess this was a no contest because there was no formal bell that rung to signal that somebody had won, but yet there was no bell signaling that this was a no disqualification or a no contest. I don't know. This was really weird. It just ended very abruptly. So I'm assuming this was a no contest. He gives a Sister Abigail to Jericho that ends the, quote, match, I guess. Then he gives a Sister Abigail to The Miz, and that is how the show goes off the air. So that was it. That was your Monday Night Raw for tonight. Monday Night Raw for April the 24th, 2017. My God. That was a long review. That was lengthier than I expected. But regardless, thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. I felt like shit the last few days, but tonight I just could not wait to get on here and make this review. It got me genuinely excited. So thank you guys so much for the continued support on the channel. The one thing that I do, that I am a bit full of chagrin about, is the fact that my subscribers are dropping. The views are doing great. The views are doing far better than I ever anticipated. Believe you me, the views are doing way better than I ever thought. But my subscribers seem to only be dropping, which is very, very odd, because I've heard from so many people, oh, you're doing really good. You're doing really great. You know, you're really starting to come into your own on doing this whole YouTube thing. But I don't know. I guess it's just going to come in due time. But regardless, thank you guys so much for the support. Those of you who continue to be around here, those of you who continue to stick around to watch all my content, thank you so much. I'm going to have more content coming here in the next few days. I got an unboxing for you here in the next few days. My pro wrestling crate is coming very, very soon. And I also may do an unboxing for a particular piece of my setup that is coming soon. It's a small piece, but it is a piece nonetheless. And I might be doing an unboxing for that. So, yeah, we shall see what goes down here in the next week. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like down below. Comment down below as well. How terrible did you think Monday Night Raw was? But anyway, like, comment, share the video as well if you can. If you feel like anybody will enjoy this. If you feel like your mother, father, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, cousin, your dog would enjoy this video, please do share it. Again, like I said, like, comment. Don't forget to click the red button down below and subscribe. And also ring the bell so that you get automatic notifications anytime that I do anything here on YouTube.com. That is where I'm going to wind down today's video. That's all from me. You guys keep yourselves safe, and I will see you at a later date. Farewell.